Hello, in this video I am going to discuss the details of circular number 13 of 2021 dated 36/2021 issued by the CBDT on the guidelines under section 194Q. In the first 2 or 3 paragraphs, the department has issued 6-page long guidelines, and I am going to discuss each of the para in greater detail to make you understand the applicability of this section, and you will become, I am sure that you will become expert of this section after end of this video, and you will get the full write-offs of this video as well as the link of my previous video, and the write-off of this section link for that will be given in the description box of this video. Now, to start with, I am giving you the simple application conditions that I have discussed in greater detail in my previous video lecture. 3 conditions are there to apply section 194Q, that is purchase value of the goods should be more than 50 lakhs in any previous year. Number 2, the goods should be purchased from any resident seller. Number 3, the buyer should have total sales or gross receipts or turnover more than 10 crores in the immediately preceding financial year in which the purchase of the goods is carried out. Now, if all of these conditions are satisfied, then buyer has to deduct an amount equal to 0.1% of such sum exceeding 50 lakhs. If the PAN of the seller is not available, then the TDS will be charged at 5%. That's it. Although all these things are discussed in greater detail in my previous video, in last video, please check it. Now, point number 4, it shows the guideline. Now, for point number 4.1 deals with the applicability on the transaction carried through various exchange. What are written here, I am not going into greater detail. I am just providing you the gist of this. You can see it from the circular itself. You will get all the write-ups in the description. You will get the link of all the write-ups in the description of this video. The transactions carried through following exchange are exempted from section 194Q, that is transactions through stock exchange, transactions through commodity exchange, and transactions carried on in power exchange. In the third point, it is said that in the second point, it is said that the transaction in the electricity and the renewable energy certificates and energy saving certificates traded through power exchange registered in accordance with the regulation 21 of CERC. So, some of my colleagues are in opinion that only all the transactions related to electricity or power is exempted, are out of the purview of this section. Although my opinion is that not all the transactions of the electricity is exempted. It exempts the transactions there is no one-to-one contact between the buyer and seller, because in the implementation phase of this guideline, this line has been added by the CBDT, that transaction, it has been stated that sometimes in these transactions there is no one-to-one contact between buyer and seller. So how can a buyer can understand that whether I have purchasing goods from the same seller and the threshold limit of 50 lakhs has been crossed? So it's impossible. Similarly, seller also don't know that who are the buyer. So where there is no one-to-one contact, so the applicability of this section become difficult from buyer as well as from seller's point of view. So this section, the applicability of these sections are exempted there in these 3 exchange transactions. Now coming to point number 4.2, that is the calculation of threshold limit for financial year 2021-22. Although I have discussed it in my previous video with detailed examples, you can go and check it, but still I am try to explain it once again in this video also. So these sections come into effect from 1st July 2021. So from 1st April 2021 to 30th June 2021, it is a pre-TDS period. So no TDS on any purchase, whatever may be the amount, whether it is more than 50 lakhs or less than 50 lakhs, even if it is more than 50 lakhs, then also no TDS can be implemented on any purchase during this pre-TDS era, because at that time this section is not yet been implemented. So there is no question of taking TDS under this section. Now in the post TDS era, that is from 1st July 2021 to 31st March 2022, we will have to charge TDS on the purchase eligible for TDS. Eligible for TDS, not on the entire purchase. It may be on entire purchase, it may be on a part of the purchase of the post TDS era may counts for the TDS deduction. Now why this is so? Because although for charging TDS you will only have to consider the post TDS period purchase, but for calculating the total threshold limit of 50 lakhs, the entire 2020-21 will be calculated. Purchase of entire period starting from 1st April 2021 ending on 31st March 2020, the entire period purchase, entire previous period purchase during this entire previous period will be considered for calculating this 50 lakhs threshold limit. But no TDS, under no circumstances, no TDS on the purchase in the pre-TDS era will be taxed, or TDS will be deducted on the purchase of this pre-TDS era. And for the post-TDS era, yes, definitely we have to calculate the TDS. If the threshold limit, if the amount of purchase exceeds threshold limit, then the excess purchase will be eligible for your TDS calculation. Now there can be two scenarios. Scenario 1, where the purchase in pre-TDS era is more than or equal to 50 lakhs. Okay, but the condition remains same. We cannot charge TDS on the purchase of this pre-TDS era even if it is more than 50 lakhs. Then what we have to do? We will simply charge TDS on all the purchase of the post-TDS era, not on the pre-TDS era, because the threshold limit of 50 lakhs has to be calculated taking all the purchase together of this previous year 2021, including pre-TDS era and post-TDS era, but TDS will be charged only on the purchase of post-TDS era. For example, if the pre-TDS era purchase is rupees 58 lakhs, which is more than 50 lakhs, and the post-TDS era purchase is 70 lakhs, so hence the total purchase during this previous year is 128 lakhs. So simply it has crossed the threshold limit, so the chargeability of the section is there, assuming that all other conditions are satisfied. Now if you want to charge the TDS under section 194Q, then if you do like this, that is the total purchase during the previous year is 128 lakhs, and out of that 50 lakhs is my threshold limit. So from 120 lakhs, if I deduct 50 lakhs and if I charge TDS on the balance 78 lakhs of purchase, then I will be wrong, because these 8 lakhs is not a purchase of post TDS era. These 8 lakhs belongs to the purchase of pre TDS era, so I cannot charge TDS on any purchase of pre TDS era. So simply correct TDS calculation will be on all the purchase of 70 lakhs of the post TDS era. So I can simply charge TDS on 70 lakhs rupees, not on 58 lakhs or on 8 lakhs. That is 8 lakhs more than 50 lakhs. So 8 lakhs would be eligible for TDS under section 194Q, but as the purchase relates to the pre-TDS era, so I cannot charge TDS on that. So simply we have to charge TDS on all the purchase of post TDS era. So if the scenario is such that your purchase is more than or equal to 50 lakhs, then please do not look into the purchase of pre TDS era. Simply charge TDS on all the purchase. The entire purchase amount of the post TDS era will be eligible for your TDS deduction. Now coming to scenario 2, that is the purchase of pre-TDS era is less than 50 lakhs. This can also happen. If this is the situation, then you can do a simple calculation. That is, in this situation, you will have to charge the TDS on the post-TDS era purchase also, not on the pre-TDS era as before. But here also, entire amount of post-TDS era purchase is not eligible for your TDS deduction. Only the purchase exceeding 50 lakhs will be eligible for your TDS calculation. For example, if the purchase in pre-TDS era is 50 lakhs and purchase in post-TDS era is 75 lakhs, so the total purchase in the previous year 2021 becomes 115 lakhs. So it is more than 50 lakhs, so eligible for TDS deduction under section 194Q. Now TDS on the post-TDS era will be purchased during the post-TDS era, is 75 lakhs. Now from that 75 lakhs you will have to deduct the purchase required to fill up the shortfall of 50 lakhs, because in the post TDS era the purchase is not more than or equal to 50 lakhs, it is less than 50 lakhs. So how much less is this? That is 10 lakhs. 50 lakhs minus 40 lakhs, so 10 lakhs is the difference. 10 lakhs is your gap, you're yet to reach your threshold limit in the pre-TDS era. So that shortfall of 10 lakh from the threshold limit will be made up from the purchase of post TDS era. So 10 lakh, first the 10 lakh will be subtracted from the 75 lakhs. So remaining 65 lakhs will be eligible for of the purchase of the post TDS era will be eligible for your TDS deduction. Or alternatively, in this case you can simply calculate the total sale as 115 lakhs minus your threshold limit 50 lakhs. So 65 lakhs is your eligible purchase for your TDS deduction. So if the scenario 2 is your case, that is purchase is less than 50 lakhs, in such a situation you can straight apply this formula. From total sales simply deduct 50 lakhs threshold limit, and whatever remaining, that will be the purchase eligible for the TDS deduction, no issue. But in the scenario in the first case, that is where the purchase is more than 50 lakhs, please don't follow this formula. Then you will calculate a wrong amount of TDS. In that case the situation will be, you will simply calculate TDS on the entire purchase amount of the post TDS era. But here the entire purchase amount of the post TDS era is not eligible for your TDS deduction. So in this case you can apply this formula. Now coming to this adjustment of GST for purchase and purchase return. Now in this case section 206C subsection 1H, the TCS on sale of goods, no adjustment is required for GST, so the sale price will be inclusive of GST as per circular number 17 of 2020 dated 29th September 2020. Now there is another circular, that is circular number 23 of 2017 dated 19th July of 2017, that is the TDS on service. It is said that if an amount of GST is shown separately in the invoice, the TDS will be deducted on the amount exclusive of GST. Okay, so for TCS purpose, if you need not to make any adjustment for GST, it will be inclusive of GST. For TDS on service purpose, if GST is shown separately in the invoice, then you will have to calculate the TDS on the amount exclusive of GST, no TDS on GST. Now for 194Q, what is the department view? The department view is same that of in case of TDS on service. That is, in this case, in circular number 13 of 2021, 30 June 2021, that is this circular, the department says that if the amount of GST shown separately in the invoice, then you can exclude the amount of GST for calculation of TDS. But if such is not the case, if you cannot separate, that is GST amount is not separately shown in the invoice, or as in the case of advance where there is no invoice, you have paid the advance in before the invoice is generated, so there is no question of separating GST from the total amount. So in such a situation, in case of advance or where there is no separate entry in the invoice for GST amount, the TDS will be calculated on the full amount, that is inclusive of GST. Now coming to point number 4.4, that is section 194Q applicable for non-resident buyer? No, it is not applicable for non-resident buyer. Simply, all the things are written here, but I am just giving you the gist of these points, all these points, so that you can understand the entire circular. No, it is not applicable on the non-resident buyer, provided that non-resident buyer do not have any permanent establishment in India. And what does this permanent establishment means? It is written here. Hopefully many of you also know what is the permanent establishment, because this definition has been used in many places in GST, in tax. So now coming to question number 4.5, that is whether the TDS under section 194Q is to be deducted if the seller income is exempted from tax. It may so happen that the income of many sellers are exempted from tax. And what are the cases? The cases are written here. You can go through this. But for sake of simplicity, if you are purchasing your goods from a seller, and seller is having a certificate of exemption from income tax, that is his entire income is exempted, in such a situation you need not to deduct any TDS. This provision is applicable for other TDS sections also. So in this case, section 194Q is not applicable to the seller where whose income are fully exempted from income tax. But if the case is that the income of the seller is partly exempted and partly taxable, if the entire income of the seller is exempted, then 194Q is also exempted. But if the income of the seller is partly exempted, in such a situation 194Q will be applied. The provision of section 194Q will be applicable to that seller. So for part exemption, you cannot get any exemption from this section. For full exemption, you will get full exemption from this section. Okay. Now coming to next question, section 194Q, is this applicable on advance money? Yes, I have already discussed it, so no need to discuss it further. Is section 194Q applicable in the year of incorporation? Suppose you have started a business in 2021 or in 21-22. Suppose you have started this business in 21-22 in this current financial year, and this section 194Q is also going to be implemented in this section in this year itself. So in this case, as the provision of one of the conditions stated that the total gross sales or total turnover of the buyer should be more than 10 crores in the previous year, just immediately preceding the year in which such purchase of goods is carried out. So you need so the threshold limit 10 crore is the purchase or sales should be calculated in the year just immediately preceding the financial year in which the purchase is carried on. So for a newly constructed business, there is no previous year, so you cannot fulfill this condition of this section. So in such a situation, for a newly incorporated business which is incorporated in this financial year in 21-22, section 194Q is exempted only for this year. That is not only for this year, for any business for the first year section 194Q is exempted, and from the subsequent year it will come into force for that business. Now, is section 194Q applicable to the buyer whose total turnover or gross receipt is more than 10 crores but total turnover or gross receipts from business income is less than 10 crores? Now this is one of the vital question. That is, many business have many incomes. Some incomes are business incomes, some incomes are non-business incomes. Now while calculating the 10 crores rupees of total turnover, if you sum up all the incomes from business income as well as from non-business income, and if you add all the incomes and the total of these gross receipts together, business receipts and non-business receipts, crosses the threshold limit, that is more than 10 crores rupees, but the receipts relating to business is less than 10 crores, then what will be the scenario? Then in such a situation, definitely this section will not be implemented. No, if the business income is greater than 10 crores, then only we will implement this section. Non-business income are not counted for the purpose of section 194Q. Business income need to be more than 10 crores in order to implement this section. Non-business income should not be counted. Now coming to the cross applicability of this section. Cross applicability of this section, three sections are there: section 194O, section 206C, subsection 1H, and section 194Q. It's very important. There are many confusions. Now for those who do not know what is 194O, I am just giving you a simple snaps of this. I am not going into much detail of this section in this, because in this case our main key importance is on 194Q, but as 194O in some places you will get a conflict with this section also, so I am discussing this section a little bit. Actually this section 194O has come into effect from 1st of October 2020, and it is nothing but the TDS on the e-commerce transactions. That is, it is entirely the matter for those players who are in the e-commerce business, that is like Amazon, Flipkart or something like that. What happens in such a situation? In such a situation, seller sells the goods and services through a platform, a virtual platform or digital platform like Amazon or Flipkart, and from that platform the buyer purchases the goods and services, and then buyer sends the money to the seller. This is the flow chart of your goods and service as well as the sales consideration. Now what will happen, this seller is known as e-commerce participants. This Amazon or Flipkart, that is the intermediary platform through which the buyer and seller exchange their goods and prices, are known as e-commerce operators, and buyers are definitely the end users. Now in this case the conditions is that there should be the e-commerce operator can be resident or non-resident, but the e-commerce participant, that is the seller, should be a resident only. Okay, now if that is the situation, then whatever amount of goods is sold, then the e-commerce operator are entrusted with the responsibility of deducting TDS while making the payment to the sellers at the rate of 1% under section 194Q. Although if the seller is individual and HUF and the total sales during the previous year from this e-commerce operator is less than 5 lakhs rupees and seller has provided either PAN or Aadhaar to the e-commerce operator, in such a situation the e-commerce operator is exempted to deduct TDS from the sale proceeds of such seller. So this is a simple and a little introduction of this section. I am not going into much detail of this. While if you want to know the detail of this section, please let me know in the comment section. I will make a separate video on this section. Now this is 194O. Now section 260 subsection 1H, that is the TCS on the sales of goods, that is also comes into effect from 1st October 2020 at the rate of 0.1%. This has also been discussed in greater detail in my last video, please go check it. And section 194Q, that is this section itself, that is the TDS of the purchase on the goods effective from 1st July 2021 at the rate of 0.1%. Now how to deal with these three sections? Now I am giving you the three conditions. Okay, I am giving you the three situations. Situation number 1, where the transactions are within the purview of both section 194 and 194Q. If both the sections are the transaction that you are dealing with, if this transaction is under the purview of both the section, that is you can use 194O and as well as you can use 194Q, then there will be a conflict. Then which section you will follow? In such a situation, section 194O will override section 194Q. Sorry, this should be 194Q. I will rectify it, and therefore section 194O will be applicable. Section 194O subsection 2 also exempting certain transactions, that will also override the section 194Q. It means hence for any transaction on which section 194O or any transaction which is exempted under section 194O subsection 2 exempted from TDS, on such sections on such transactions no TDS can be implemented, can be deducted under section 194Q. Hence TDS under section 194Q will not be applicable here. Because why we are giving the more weightage to the 194O than 194Q? The reason is simple, because the TDS rate of 194O is 1%, that is greater than the TDS under section 194Q, that is 0.1%. So government should give more weightage to the section that will fetch him more tax. So definitely TDS 194O always have a higher hand or overriding effect on 194Q. So when there is any conflict, generally not for the normal traders, for e-commerce trader I am talking specifically, if you have a conflict on the transactions, that which section should you follow for deducting your TDS, whether you will follow the provisions of 194O or you will follow the newly implemented section 194Q, then you should follow your last section, that is 194O. You need not to follow 194Q. Clear? Now coming to the transactions which is within the purview of both the section 206C1H and section 194O. Again here, if there is a conflict between section 194O and section 206C1H, then also again who will win? Definitely section 194O will override section 206C subsection 1H. Why? The reason is same that I told you. That is in this case section 194O will be applicable. Why? Because the TDS rate under this section is higher, that is 1%, and then the TDS under section then the TCS, sorry, it should be TCS under section 206C1H at the rate of 10%. Okay. Now coming to last part of this video, transactions within the purview of both the sections 194Q as well as section 206C1H. This has also been discussed in my last video in greater detail. Please go check it. I will provide the link of the previous video and the link of the write-ups of my previous notes as well the link of the write-ups of this circular in the description box of my video. So if the transactions are within the purview of both the section 194Q and 206C subsection 1H, then which section will remain? Which section will override which one? Which one you will have to follow? In such a situation, section 194Q will be overriding. 194Q will override section 206C subsection 1H. Hence, section 194Q will be applicable and 206C subsection 1H is not applicable. But there is a concession. But if the seller has already deducted TCS under section 206C subsection 1H before the buyer could have deducted TDS under section 194Q, if this is the case, you got an invoice where seller has already deducted this, so you get no chance to deduct TDS. So in such a situation, the same transaction will not again be subjected to tax under section 194Q to avoid double taxation. It is because this concession is given because the TDS rate under section 206C subsection 1H and section 194Q are same, that is 0.1%. There is no change in the rate, so from either section you can use, but general case, it's not the case that whether you will deduct or the seller will deduct, anyone can deduct. No, that is not the case. Normal scenario, in a normal scenario, TDS will be applicable, TCS will not be applicable. Section 194Q will have a overriding effect on section 206C 1H. But if in the starting period, it may so happen you may get the bill of June or May in the July where the seller has already charged TCS. Now you are in a dilemma that whether I will have to deduct TDS or whether I will pay the TCS that the seller is asking for. Then in such a situation, the department has given you the concession, you should not charge TDS on that transaction, you should give the TCS to the seller, seller will deposit, because seller has already deposited the same also to the department, so there will be a problem. So in such a situation, only for this intermediary phase, the concession is provided, that is the transaction on which the 206C 1H TCS is already charged, you should not charge TDS under this section. So that's it for today. Please check the description below to get all the details, and please do subscribe and hit the bell button. Thank you.